What's up, everyone? It's Monday, and this is the Showdown Breakdown. We're looking at the Cowboys-Chargers game on a Victory Monday. That's right. My Jets. Victory Monday.
Good morning on a Victory Monday.
Switch to that one.
That doesn't get you going. I don't know what will.
You don't get to do that every day. So we've got another showdown to break down. Josh, DFSupNORTH, will be with us shortly, but we wanted to get started. Time's a wasted.
Too excited.
So, time's a waste. You got time. So let's get right into it. I want to go over a few different things. This is an exciting game, Bobbywow. It's a pick'em. Mild lean here to Dallas, but effectively a pick'em game. And I think there are some really interesting. I have some overall thoughts. Let me show you something on screen though. Start breaking down this matchup, and then we'll get into the different matchups and all that good stuff. But right here, you can see I'm actually going to go here to the power ranking sheet that we have here over at the Sharp app, available to Sharp app subscribers, where it shows you this is a non-biased defensive metric sheet. And you can see here that the Chargers are allowing 50 yards above average expectation to opposing offenses. So you could throw on the Chargers is what this is saying. And this right here means running backs should be expected to do about average against them. Then we take a look at Dallas. Dallas defense is quite good, but not a shutdown in terms of yards allowed as they've been in the past. There he is. What's up, DFSupNORTH? So Dallas defense, not a shutdown as it had been in the past. They're allowing 23 fewer yards per game to opposing passing attacks compared to average. So Dallas really not popping this year as far as like an amazingly unstoppable defense, at least by the yards allowed metric to running backs and wide receivers. So wanted to start with that. With all of that being said, and we're going to go to the matchups here, but one thing I just wanted to kind of my general thought about this game, guys, and before we get into the breakdown, I want your thoughts here, but I feel like this is a strength on weakness on strength, or it's a strength on weakness matchup for Dallas in particular. And here's why. Dallas offense, they suck when you put them up against an elite defense. They're not that good for whatever reason, right? Like they play the 49ers, shut down completely. They play a top defense. That's where they look bad. I wouldn't, if they play the Jets, they probably not look that great, right? But when they play a mediocre defense, they could put up numbers, no problem. The strength of the Chargers is their offense, but they're going up against the strength of Dallas, which is their defense. So to me, it's strength on strength, which favors Dallas defense in that matchup. But Dallas's sort of weakness, the offense, won't be. I don't think the Chargers can take advantage of it. To bring it all back around and bring it into what the hell I'm talking about is, I think Dallas is in a better spot here. All right, like their offense is good enough to put up points on the Chargers. The Chargers offense is probably good enough to put up points as well, but that defense of Dallas should be able to slow the Chargers. So I think this is a good spot for Dallas. Does that make sense?
I think that makes going on there. Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Like this is everybody's thrown and ran on the Chargers all year. I don't think Dallas is as good of a defense as they have been maybe in the past. Just statistically, it doesn't show up necessarily. But they are a good scoring defense, which makes me interested in them in Showdown here. They do get sacks and picks and defensive touchdowns. So I think they're interesting that way. But yeah, I would agree. I think it'll be interesting to see what the Chargers do, because we've only seen one game with Austin Eckler, right? So they've been throwing the ball a ton, but what's going to happen here? We haven't seen Austin Eckler in the lineup in 4 weeks.
Absolutely. And that's right. And the return of Eckler, I think, and I've been saying this the whole season, when Eckler is there, that hurts Herbert the most in terms of fantasy production.
Brings everybody else down.
Yeah, it's good for the team.
They're better. They're a better team, but it hurts their fantasy production.
That's right. And you don't get those, or you're less likely to get the smash out of Herbert and all of that when Eckler's there, because Eckler sucks up a lot of the production and the touchdowns. So under that backdrop, and of course some of this will change, but let's take a look at the usage charts here, the matchup sheet. Hopefully you got, make it bigger, Kevin. I can't see it. Oh, I made the wrong screen bigger. Hold on. Let's try like that.
There we go. Now I can see it.
Which is a whole other story. So, okay. Justin Herbert at the helm for the Chargers. He'll be throwing passes to Keenan Allen, 75%, 30%, 31% target share on the season. 75% snap count last week. Josh Palmer is out there. And then what's going on with Quentin Johnston and Darius Davis? Take me through these guys, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Johnston's just kind of really not done anything all year. He's the guy that everybody expected. I think people spent some waiver money on him when Mike Williams went down, and he's really sort of done nothing. He's not had more than 3 targets in a game, 1 reception, 2 reception, 1 reception, 2 reception, all four games he's played so far. And Davis sort of stepped up last week and was the guy. He had 2 catches, 2 targets, but then they also ran him on some end arounds. So he had 3 carries for 51 yards last week, which is an intriguing prospect.
Interesting. Quentin obviously is a first-round draft pick, but hasn't quite come around. Josh Palmer got a Q tag on him. Let's see what that means for this week's game.
He's expected to play, but I think he might be a little limited here.
We'll see. I'm not gonna adjust my exposure to Palmer based on that personally. I'm gonna ignore it. Don Parham, it's
growing, which is not exciting.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Don Parham, everyone's favorite TE2 touchdown machine.
All he does is catch putties.
Yeah, do you think he's gonna be like crazy over-owned for this?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. I like that. And of course, Gerald Everett is the main guy. You can see here. I think Parham's been banged up, so I think the 59-43 is much more apt in terms of what to expect out of these guys. Really, they're both on the field, very similar amounts, but it does seem like Parham is a, we got a package for this kid at the goal line. You know what I mean? When the team's got a package, you got to pay attention. That about does it. I don't think we need Stone Smart exposure. Is that really his name?
No, I mean it's the same thing as last night, right? Like he's gonna catch a touchdown pass in the red zone, or that's it. Like he's gonna take a 0.
And it's just, I didn't talk about backup running back, but is this where like we don't play Kelly and he sucks?
Stop.
I wrote that in the notes. I wrote that in the notes that this would be the most showdown thing ever if Kelly smashed here.
That would be the most turdly showdown situation of all time.
Yep.
So ignore it. Even Bobbywow's like, stop. You never say that.
He's at a price where even if he was the starter, I don't even think I'm playing him because of how bad he's been.
The price is too high. I think I'd much rather play Spiller as the backup running back just because he looked serviceable last week.
Right.
Isaiah Spiller absolutely looks better than Josh Kelly. I don't understand why Kelly.
Darius Davis a better rusher in 3 attempts than Kelly and Spiller.
Kelly has done in 4 games.
3 rushing attempts for Spiller look better than 4 games worth of starting for Josh Kelly. What a fucking nightmare that guy has been. All right, let's shift over to Dallas. Tony Pollard, let's not forget who the hell he is.
Right.
Tony Pollard is elite and just as good of a running back in terms of fantasy production and all of that shit as Austin Eckler, and oh, by the way, a much, much better on paper matchup than what Eckler has for this game. Keeping it real, right? So he's got a 79% or a 70% snap count from last week. Looks like Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn mixing in a little bit as the backups. Not a whole lot of, not a ton of passing game work for those two, but they both got some carries last week.
Yep.
Now, was there a situation last week that caused Deuce Vaughn to be in the game this much?
No, he plays every week. 3 to 4, 5, 6 carries every game.
Yeah, it does look like that's pretty consistent
for him. He is in every single game.
Interesting. And Dowdle got a little bit more work maybe last week than he had seen, but you're right, not a whole lot. It's pretty close. And even Hunter Lupke's getting in the game.
Yeah, he scored a touchdown the other week. He's their John Kuhn fullback, like for the Mike McCarthy offense.
How gross is that?
He can catch passes. Like he is a Kyle Juszczyk, ruin a showdown slate type of guy.
Dave's already making the Dak gets hurt and Lance comes in and smashes. You know how bad you're gonna feel if Dak gets hurt and then it's not Lance, it's that other dude. It's not even Lance.
Is gonna be out of the league in a year.
We'll see. Hopefully not. I got so much Dynasty exposure to that guy. I really hope he gets a chance.
The better NFL player from NDSU is Hunter Lipke at running back for Dallas.
Oh boy. I hope you're wrong. All right. Wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, 70%. Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, 81%. So look at the target shares for these guys. You know, you would think that they would favor Lamb a lot more than they do, but they don't. Gallup getting quite a bit. None of these guys are like CeeDee Lamb is not getting the 30% alpha treatment at all. What is wrong why are they doing this? Don't they realize this is why their offense doesn't look good?
No, it's because Dak Prescott's not good.
It's tough too, right? Because they have not played a competitive game all season.
That's true.
I mean, maybe against the Cardinals, you could make the argument 28-16, but the games have largely been blowouts. 40-0 first week, 30-10 with the Jets, 38-3 Patriots, and then losing 42-10 of the 49ers last week. So part of the problem is they just haven't been in that competitive game style. I think that's been a huge contributor too. So I don't know, Geek, you wouldn't question CeeDee's the guy, right?
Oh, of course. CeeDee's the guy. It's really just a question of, do I want to pay up for CeeDee Lamb? CeeDee Lamb's underpriced for an alpha role on this offense in this matchup. Yeah. But Keenan Allen looms large as we know Keenan usually gets 12 targets in a game like this. CeeDee Lamb's probably in the 8 to 9 target range.
They've more so, I feel like this year they've gotten guys more involved, like Kavontae Turpin and Jalen Tolbert and Jake Ferguson, and all of these sort of semi-turds are getting, Jake Ferguson has 17% of the targets this year. That's probably twice what Dalton Schultz had last year, right? So there's just not as much to go around. And then when it's not a super competitive game and Dak's only throwing it 23, 24, 25 times, it just doesn't lead to these high-end fantasy scoring outputs. And Brandon Cooks has been, for who they think he is, he's just a guy, man.
He used to be good. He's a first-round draft pick from 9 years ago. But I mean, he hasn't been good this year, right? But again, I think Bobbywow, you made a really good point. We have not really seen the Dallas offense in a normal game yet.
That's true.
It's they're either getting blown out. So I think when you're in, I need to do something here. We need to make a play happen. I think when you're blowing somebody out, you're hey, bring in fucking Deuce Vaughn, all good, or let's throw one to Kavontae Turpin for shits and gigs. But when you're in a competitive matchup, you go to your studs, maybe.
Yeah,
I think this is a competitive game, guys. I do not foresee a blowout
no.
at all.
This will be fun. This will be a high-scoring, high-paced matchup. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So a couple of turds here that are floating around. You mentioned Jake Ferguson. Ferguson's not a turd. Dak loves the tight end, and it was Schultz last year, and it's been Ferguson this year. I'm going with the flow of that. I think I like Ferguson. I like tight end of Dak Prescott as a thing. And tell me about Kavontae Turpin. Why is this guy even a thing?
Because he's fast.
He's just an end around guy. Give me a comparable.
Isaiah McKenzie, but better.
Isaiah McKenzie role, something like
that.
Yeah,
he's a good, and he's your returner. He's the guy who's returning punts and kicks and all that jazz, right?
So he's your stack with the Dallas defense guy.
Yeah, no, enough. Stop it, Bobbywow. I can't. Don't do that. Enough.
Yeah. So he's interesting.
I think I'm going to tell you something right now. I think you're more likely to hit a backup quarterback coming in the game and leading you to showdown victory than you are to stacking a punt returner.
It's the up north special. I had to mention it. Come on.
I don't know that.
I think Turpin and the Dallas D are in the nuts, Mike.
I think that has never, ever hit in the history of showdowns. You found the one thing that has never worked.
Yes, it
never
happens all the time, Kevin.
I give me one example.
All right, now I gotta look it up.
If that is even hit once, I will be out of my fucking mind with shock. Okay, so I don't think that's ever hit in the history of a showdown.
So
Hold on, let's make this. What else do we do before we go to that? Sensational matchups. Okay, let's talk positions, guys.
Please.
Hold on. This is too big. I cannot see it. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's talk positions here, and let's talk captain. So Josh, DFS up north, take us through your cheat sheet here and some of the captains that you've got picked out for us. And I hope that Dak Prescott is not on the list. He's not good.
He is not on the list, and actually Justin Herbert is, and I think you could make an argument that he is not a viable captain candidate as well. For me, I do really like Austin Eckler coming back full go here. And like we said earlier, I think he really hurts Keenan Allen and Justin Herbert's sort of high-end upside. Like you said about CeeDee Lamb, just the price for me here is just so cheap. I think you could punt guys like Jake Ferguson. I think the Cowboys D is puntable. And I never say defense.
Yeah, that's unusual.
But I do think that they just score so well, and they're coming off a bye. Like Herbert has been okay, not great. Like he's been hucking it a ton. So maybe with the change, right, with Eckler being back in the offense could lead to some confusion. Or I think he's going to take a bunch of sacks tonight. So I do like the Cowboys D. I think you could punt like a Ferguson here. But that would have to be a low scoring game, right? You'd have to basically bet the under that it's going to be under 50. For the tight end to get there, because I don't think he's going to score 2 touchdowns, right?
There is compelling evidence that this style of tight end doesn't generally wind up as a captain in tournaments, in showdowns. You know what I mean? Like tight ends can get there, but they have to be name brand guys, pretty much. Like this style of tight end.
I think his usage is, it's not like Travis Kelce, but it's George Kittle. Like his usage is super high.
Yeah, I could see that. Everybody's talking about the Kellen Moore revenge game.
Shit like that's so stupid.
Kellen Moore.
No, I think there is something to teams that know stuff about the other, like Dayball knowing the Bills yesterday and somehow the Bills playing so poorly. I do think there is a little bit of overlap there, but it's limited. They kind of have an idea like what you can do. I think this is a good game for Dak Prescott, by the way, guys. But so I don't not want to play him. I just don't see any version of the game playing out where he's like the captain. Nuts.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening.
It's not too crazy. I'll go through this. So Keenan Allen, I'm assuming the only reason that's 2.5 and not more is because he's so expensive. You really have to stretch to get him in your lineup.
You gotta have a 12 target, 100 and some yard touchdown game.
And no one else can do anything. And it is tough. I think Pollard and Lamb, both are priced at an area that's very comfortable for the captain spot. At the high end, what we lack here are low end options. And I think that is going to create for a challenge. I would throw in, like in my mix, I think you almost have to throw in like some Quentin Johnston type or Palmer or something. You got to find a salary release.
Literally, Quentin Johnson has 44 yards receiving this year, Kevin.
Yeah, he's terrible. He's not good. Listen, again, I scouted him for Dynasty, and to me, he was the worst of the first round picks at wide receiver. I was really like, these guys screwed it up. So I think
the hard part, there's no like cheap guys. There's a big jump from CeeDee Lamb at 9,000 to Palmer at 7,000. I don't have Palmer listed here because I am concerned about the groin injury. And he's a guy that's a deep threat that can take the top off. Like, and if you're anywhere struggling with your groin area, that can be tricky, right?
Kind of surprised you don't have Gallup and Cooks in here. DFS.
I have Gallup at a core flex play just because he's so cheap. But when you build, like I just don't foresee the build with Gallup at captain being the nuts play. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like the way that you're gonna like force people in, it just doesn't make a ton of sense for me.
Dude, are you for real that an ad popped up during a live stream?
Ooh,
that's fucking weird. All right, I need to look at that.
Sounds like FanDuel's got an inside agent messing with the channel, Geek.
Yeah, what is happening here? Yeah, the FanDuel people. Next thing you know, you're gonna have to click on "Are you human?"
Now you're gonna have to prove that you're a human to watch.
To keep watching this. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna look into that. I do not. I don't like any of the ads at all popping up on these. To be honest with you, you just have to turn it on if they're gonna ever. They don't distribute the video if you don't turn it on. But fuck that. All right,
that's crazy.
Cowboys defense.
Some of the turds here.
Yeah, I could see it with Cowboys defense. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think Gallup is that guy that's missing from here that probably should be on the list. I would add Gallup in there, DFS up north. I think he belongs here because he can get it. He can get 2 long touchdowns, 22 fantasy points. He is the nuts captain all day.
Yeah,
or like 1 long reception.
Sure. I don't know if one long reception gets there, right?
Yeah.
He's got, it's hard. Again, it's so hard to tell because, they've played 5 games and they've had just weird games. He's averaging 6 fantasy points a game.
And I think you're right on. It'll be interesting to see the lineup construction as we go through, but because he's so cheap in the flex, you really don't need to try to force someone like that in as captain.
Let's see when we build a lineup in a minute. Right. But let's see how it feels with these expensive captains and how one feels if we could put a cheaper guy in there. But all right, so with all that being said, take me through some of the extra plays. Obviously, we already kind of these studs are all in a good spot. I think you're right. Palmer at 7K is not that great because he's so close in price to like a CeeDee Lamb, or so much above Gallup and Cooks
with similar ceilings.
Yeah, I would probably
really similar, to be honest, similar floors.
Palmer got a lot of targets last week, but I don't know how much that matters. Eckler's back as well, and that also reduces the interest in like that 3rd or 4th target on the Chargers, because I think it's going to be Eckler getting a lot of that work, and then Allen getting the secondary work with these other guys all, and then of course the tight ends mixed in. There's a lot of players on the Chargers, a lot of mouths to feed.
Yep.
So take me through some of the cheapies and how to make a lineup work. Brandon Aubrey, Dallas kicker is always good.
Yeah, he's been so good. Like I said, I really do like Jake Ferguson. Like he's getting a ton of usage here. I think our projection on him is probably a little bit low. I don't like Gerald Everett. I don't like Quentin Johnston that much, but I do like Cam Dicker, Brendan Aubrey. I like the Cowboys D. And then after that, it's just a bunch of guys that you're just hoping they maybe get some sort of involvement, right? Like Gerald Everett.
Take me through the turd zone.
Yeah. So I think Spiller's interesting. Backup RB, obviously. Maybe if Eckler's not fully healthy, I think that they liked what they saw at him last week. We talked about Turpin and Dowdle. Parham's coming back from injury. Darius Davis, we saw him get 3 carries last week. Are we going to see that again with Eckler out? Probably not.
No.
Deuce Vaughn gets some usage. Jalen Tolbert is out there enough. He plays around 40% of the snaps. But he hasn't done anything that wasn't in a blowout. Lipke's, like I said, that fullback guy that can kind of get you in the end zone. He's done that once this year already. Schoonamaker weirdly doesn't play at all. For a guy that didn't they invest a draft pick on him?
Which one?
Schoonamaker.
Yeah, he was a high pick. He's a second or third round tight end, but they've gone with Ferguson, and that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, they did spend a pick on how'd you pronounce his name?
Schoonamaker.
Yeah. Okay, I like it. I'm good with that. I would have Schoonmaker. I would have went Schoonmaker.
Isn't that Schoon? He's got one catch on the year, 1 yard for a TD.
SCH. I have that as a more of a sound.
I think that's a cultural thing from where you're from and where I'm from.
Maybe. I don't know. I was like, wait, how did you pronounce that? Guys in the chat, is it Schoonmaker or Schoonamaker?
I'm like 90 at Schoon. Bobby, where I need you to weigh in as my Midwest.
Is that the Midwest pronunciation? I don't know.
I don't know. I got no dog in this fight. I'm
I'm
watched
going on to his
Eckler himself. Dalton, just to be clear,
it's Achan,
but I watched Eckler himself. He has a really mediocre fantasy football show, It is difficult to watch.
Whoa! Oh my!
It's difficult to watch it. I love the guy. It's hard to watch that show because the co-host is such. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't enjoy it. The co-host is really just weird and almost starstruck. It's just not an enjoyable show. But he did say, like, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be myself. He was kind of like, don't worry about it. I'm good to go. So, oh, look at it. We got in the audience. We got Scoons and Shoons. Everybody's the fight in the chat. We got some Shoons.
Right. I'm looking for like a Spoonamaker.
Spoon and then BitMonkey comes in with I'm like, all right, this is all right, hold on. Dallas
Cowboys.
Yeah, there is Scoon Chain, HN guys. All right, so let's make a lineup while we try to figure out how to say that guy's name here. And just how funny is it that I love that the chat is unclear on this one. That's new.
Schoon. Oh, Schoon. Right. That's even more different.
Schoon.
Ooh.
All right.
Sounds like a bad word.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on at this point. So there are two ways to make a lineup, I think. Sure. All right, let me just, if I'm playing a cash lineup, let me start here. Bobbywow, if I'm playing a cash lineup, who's my first click in the captain spot?
For me, it's probably Tony Pollard. Or Austin Eckler, but I'm going Pollard because of the discount.
Yep.
I think so too. So I think so too. So you start with Pollard, 71.20 left. All right, he didn't crush you. Pollard got a reasonable price tag on him. I really want Eckler. I really want Allen. I really want Lamb. I don't think we can get all three of them.
Okay.
So where are we going with this next? Or actually, let's put in core. Let's put in core Gallup just so we can feel good about how much money we have left. Core Gallup.
Because I don't think you necessarily need a quarterback tonight. Like I'm probably going Eckler. Eckler and Lamb are probably next or Eckler and Allen.
It's Eckler and Allen. Oh, and you could get Lamb in this one.
Yeah,
it's not great.
Yeah, so when you put Lamb in there, you have to put the Cavante turd pin.
But let's say you take Lamb or Allen out.
All right, so one of these two come out, and now we can make an Aubrey Palmer.
There you go.
I don't love it though. Yeah. But yeah, that's how it would go, right?
Get Palmer. There you go. I think that's fine.
What about Ferguson? Hold on. Ferguson, Palmer.
Ferg.
You could do that. So you get a couple more pieces from each team. This is pretty good. This covers a lot of the offense for both teams. Who are we leaving out, though? The best player on the entire slate, probably Keenan out. Whoa. Or one of the best.
I think it's Pollard, Eckler for me, and then probably Lamb as second tier. Yeah. And then maybe Allen. But yeah, no, I think all those guys are great plays. So with a high priced starting point,
you can still build a pretty good
what the difference is. If I go to Gallup at the captain, I can get them all in.
You can't.
Look at you can get them all. Check this out. So if you are willing to do Gallup here at captain, I've got I can get Allen.
You can get lots of them
and Pollard. So you can effectively Allen, Lamb, Pollard, Eckler. Every stud in this game is in this lineup except for the quarterbacks.
And QBs.
I love this lineup, man. This is what I'm playing in this contest. But I like this approach. I think this is the safety approach. But what I like about what we've just seen is you can, and there's Parham. Listen, I don't want to go through every iteration of a lineup filled with turds, but if you look at the top version where you play a stud in there, you probably have to either sacrifice one of the core studs on these teams.
Yep.
Or just have to throw basically a super turd in there, like Turpin or something, and hope that it works.
Now, here's the problem with that lineup, right? Is you don't have a guy who's averaging 25 fantasy points a game.
Herbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Herbert did that.
You have Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, true.
Vulturing. But I guess that's the theory.
I've been screaming this for the last 4 weeks. when Herbert doesn't have Eckler, he's going to throw for touchdowns. They can't score with Josh Kelly. Like, that dude sucks. We all saw it. But when Herbert's in there score, now I think there is an argument to be made for a not good game for Eckler today. So I think you got to build a few different ways.
Yeah.
So then you start with the baseline of what we just showed, and then there's like 7 ways to build that same lineup where you could go, Eckler doesn't have a good game, so just play the other ones. If Eckler's not in your lineup, like, you should probably have Keenan Allen in that lineup.
Right.
He probably belongs.
Yeah, 100%. Right?
$1,000,000,000%. Yep.
Can they go together? Yes.
Yeah.
You can make it work.
Does Gilmore shadow Keenan Allen today? I say Bobbywow.
Look,
I don't think so.
No, I'm not very concerned. No,
I don't think so anyway. I think Gilmore is not likely to be assigned in that way. I think he'll just be on the outside. And Keenan Allen plays a slot. He rarely part of what the superpower of Keenan Allen is he rarely gets shut down by an elite corner because he plays in the slot almost the whole game. And that corner is probably going to be on the outside. Stephon Gilmore is good. I didn't even know he was on Dallas, to be honest with you.
He's not that good.
Finding that out now. I had no idea. But he's a good player, but he'll probably be on the outside covering, Palmer. It's Palmer who gets shut down at 7K.
I don't buy into that either. I'm not worried about it, but yeah, I think it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's are we shift gear to FanDuel?
Yeah, let's go to FanDuel.
Okay. Let's shift gear a little bit here. And
Stephon Gilmore's averaging a 105.7 passer rating, so I'm
there you
less
go.
concerned.
I get hate cards from the players that I refer to in negative ways, but we're not here to suck up to the players, guys. We're here to.
Some people are asking about Leighton Vander Esch being out. That's just a bump for everybody on that offense, right? Leighton Vander Esch is a stud. He clogs up the middle. I think that's just a boon for everybody. I don't think it's necessarily great for the tight ends because I just don't think that the tight ends for the Chargers are that good anyways.
Yeah, I would agree. You don't really want, like, the tight ends on the Chargers. It's rare. I talk about this all the time. It's kind of rare that any one of them, like, because they both are on the field so much.
A lot.
It's just rare. It's rare that any individual one of them does a whole lot. I even know how to. I gotta hang on.
It's so much better in sheets.
Yeah,
a billion times.
So much better. Yeah, you're right. So let me do it that way. The only problem is on sheets. It doesn't look as good on screen here because of this upper. You know what I mean? Like, there's a part of the screen that just kind of.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah, it doesn't go away. But okay. FanDuel potential captains. So DFS Up North, take me through your 4 potential captain plays, which I am in agreement on.
Yeah, I mean, it's Eckler, right? Running back, QB, running back. Like, that's just it's so hard for somebody to outscore. Like, even when Allen was having his smash games, Herbert outscored him. Like, so it doesn't. It's hard. But Eckler is probably my favorite, followed by Herbert, Pollard, and then Dak Prescott. And you could probably put Pollard above Herbert. But I just think that if Eckler's not doing it in this matchup, then Herbert's probably throwing it a ton, is kind of where I'm at.
Eckler should be 100%, dude. And so expect him to fully play. I do have a thought, though. When Eckler was in, regardless of Mike Williams or whoever else last season for the Chargers, Keenan Allen was not doing what he had done the 3 or 4 weeks this year at all. Keenan Allen was really more of a 20, but he has a high floor, but he was more of a 20 point a game guy. He usually wasn't doing enough to win tournaments, so to speak, like to be worth rostering for the pricing. And he's priced up the highest that you're ever really going to see him, 10-6. Normally, you would have a CD Lamb. So I'm just going, let's use the Wayback Machine in our brains for a second. Sorry, I went back to FanDuel because I just had this thought. And last year, CD Lamb would be priced above Eckler, above Keenan Allen, automatically. They were not priced the same. So
and even like the fantasy exercise, right? You need 20 points in your fantasy lineup tonight. You get to choose between one, CeeDee Lamb or Keenan Allen. Who are you going with?
Fuck, I
Even
mean,
if everything's
because of my
flat.
recency bias, I would take Keenan Allen. But I think if I needed 30, I might take CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb.
There you go. You need 30 to win. Yeah, I'm taking CeeDee Lamb as well.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I needed 15 to win, I'm going Keenan Allen.
Okay, hypothetical though. I need to dodge 43 points tonight, and my opponent has Herbert, Dak, and Josh Palmer going. How do I feel?
Adios,
Herbert,
my friend.
Dak,
I need
and
this
Palmer?
Yeah, I need this to
You're
go
feeling
under.
bad.
I need this to
Yeah,
go
you're
really
feeling
under.
You're not feeling good about that. So yeah, and Anthony Mack, that's right. I'm watching what you're saying in the chat, and you're right. So let's just bring our minds back to the Wayback Machine. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying let's remember that Keenan Allen was not considered to be this high upside stud when Eckler was in these games. He just wasn't.
Yeah.
Not to mention a rougher matchup than usual against the Dallas defense. That is good. So there are some reasons here for cautiousness for Keenan Allen at the price that he's at. All right. So sorry about that detour. Eckler, Herbert, FanDuel. You always want to play running back or quarterback. Let me put it this way. When it's not a running back or a quarterback, like last week when it was a kicker, I think there was a game last week when the kicker, that's not going to be this game. But last week there was a game where the kicker was the nuts on FanDuel. Somebody actually won $100K solo.
Saw that.
I think it's actually two. In fairness, I think there was two people, and it was a 150 and a 50, first and second. But nonetheless, I was like, oh my God, a FanDuel showdown ended, and it was just like two people. Normally you split on FanDuel with 30, 40, 50. Like it is rare to hit that solo, but when it's not a running back so I guess an argument could be made. If you really only want to take it down solo, you should probably avoid kickers and just play everything that's not a kicker or a wide receiver or a running back.
Yeah.
But just being aware that is going to cause you to miss the nuts, 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's just that 10% when it doesn't, you probably make up for the whole thing, but not a lot of us can stomach that.
Before like defense has shown up all the time, we've talked about that before on here, is like, do you just play a defense captain every single week and hope you hit at some point? But now,
and that way you can solo, but now it's getting ownership. Yeah, now that's getting ownership, so you can't even solo those. All right, so take me through the salaries and how FanDuel comes together and who you can use to afford lineup. Dak at 13K?
There's not a ton of difference. I think that Dak is cheap, obviously. But like these guys like a Gallup, right? Like I like him a ton on DraftKings, but he's cheap over here too. But he just, without the PPR and how much they spread around the ball, like it's hard to get excited about any of these Dallas wide receivers outside of maybe CeeDee Lamb, right?
I think you're just predicting which guy will get the touchdown.
That's all you're doing, right? You're just hoping for a tutty.
Yeah. I think in looking at the sub kicker salary zone, right? So we got to under this 9K, this 8.5, 9K level. It's, I mean, no to Kelly. You got Aubrey and Dicker, fine, 9K.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ferguson's
and then
good.
you're just hunting for touchdowns here. I think Quentin Johnson can score a touchdown in this game.
Yeah.
He hasn't been great. Could he catch a touchdown? Yes.
Look, Quentin Morris scored a touchdown last night. The guy had not seen a target all year. Like,
what about Spukenmacher? Can he score a touchdown?
It is Schoonemacher. I looked it up. I posted it in the chat for people. Dallas. I got the Dallas feed from there when he caught his tight end.
I just wanted to say it in an extra weird way.
Schoonemacher.
What do you think the Aaron guy would call him? What do you think Key and Peele would call him?
Schoonemacher.
They'd actually just call him by his regular name. Bobbywow, who am I using in this zone here? Who is the Bobbywow special?
Ugh.
Where are you going on this one? That's really what we're all here for.
No, I think Josh has it nailed. I mean, Parham is your cheapie on FanDuel. I think that's where you go if you want a value punt type of guy. below 10% ownership. Gerald Everett's another, interesting shot down there as well. But to me, FanDuel is pretty clear. You want a mix of those guys on FanDuel. All those guys 8K and below. I think you want a mix of. Not the Turds, though. Not Turpin and Vaughn, Loopkey, those guys, I'm probably not touching on FanDuel. But that 7,500 to 8,500 zone, especially Ferguson. Jake Ferguson's way too cheap.
Ferguson for the price, yeah, he's a guy getting a lot of targets, and he's at that 8K. You need that 8K player to make a lineup on FanDuel, 8,500. But I'm telling you, I have Michael Gallup could get a touchdown. Quentin Johnston.
To me, I'm wondering if more so on DraftKings, it almost feels like a Jacoby Myers type game for Brandon Cooks. I know Brandon Cooks has not been good.
Yep.
He's not been good with the Cowboys, but he was really good with the Texans last season. And that was with Davis Mills at the helm.
Yep.
So I don't know. Something just tells me that it could be a little bit of a Brandon Cooks game as well. So don't sleep on him at that price. He's like in that forgotten zone on DraftKings between Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. But no, I'm totally with you guys on the way this slate's shaking out.
I think
who's really. No, go ahead, Kevin.
Me?
No.
Well, I was going to say what Bobbywow, what you guys were both talking about earlier, really is hitting home with me that what we're looking at for Dallas is a game, hopefully, that is nothing like any game that they've played so far this year. So you have to look at a lot of the usage, and you got to basically take the usage numbers and the lines that they put up each week and throw it out and say, I don't care what happened these 4 weeks, because these were blowouts. Either they were losing in a blowout or they were winning in a blowout, but every single game was kind of a blowout. And so you don't really know in a competitive environment where Dallas is going to go with the football.
Yeah.
And I think that opens up those guys like a Cooks who hasn't done anything yet. It could happen.
Yeah, I agree. The other guy that I was going to say and you can only play him on FanDuel, but Antonio Callaway is 5,000. The Cowboys cut him on June 1st, but he is still available on FanDuel to play. So if you wanted to play Antonio Callaway at 5,000, you can.
Why would I want to play Antonio Callaway at 5,000?
Drives me bonkers that FanDuel has the freaking guys that have been cut on June 1st still in the player pool.
Okay.
Drives me insane.
Don't play.
They got a Q tag. They got a Q tag on Darius Shepard. He was cut in July.
All right, so two things. If you're going to FanDuel to get information about play, never trust that. All right, to get information about players or injuries, that's a weird thing to do. Very much like I'm in a sports book state, and I will say that the last thing you ever want to bet on are the pre-organized, prop like parlays that they put together for you. Like you don't want to play those. They are
everywhere.
That is the person whose money you're trying to win saying, "Hey, here's a bet that you might like." Like, dude, don't fucking play that bet.
Right? Like, that's different than bonuses, but
here's a bet you might like. Like, let's maybe not the sports book that you're trying to take money from. Let's not trust them to give advice about who you should bet on. Okay? Get independent advice.
Not financial advice, but give me the boys and give me the over tonight, Geek. That's where I'm going.
The over. I like that, but I like the Cowboys.
I'm taking the under.
He's going under. I like the Cowboys in this game as well. A friend of mine actually, he called me up today. He had a crazy parlay. A lot of people hit some crazy parlays this week, and he was like $100 parlay. For 8 to win 8. He's like, the last piece is Chargers money line tonight. And if I could cash out at 4K or bet Chargers or let it ride for 8.
Cash it out, baby.
Cash that out.
Cash that out.
Okay.
Cash it out. Can you or should you build non-QB lineups on FanDuel? Let's see. I don't think so, Vincent, but let's see.
I don't think so either, but it's close.
First of all, Dak is an absurdly cheap price. You almost can't. We didn't put an emphasis on the salaries here, guys. Dak is ridiculous. So the fact that they price, I know Dak's not that great, hashtag, but Pollard,
it's cheap, man.
Dak, you got to play Dak at 13K. Like at that price, he only needs to get like 14 or 15. Like who is he competing with? Josh Palmer? Like what? He's going to outsell Palmer. If Lamb is producing, Dak is going to outproduce Lamb. This is weird.
If Dak does not outscore Keenan Allen, I will drink a beer out of the turd hat. Okay.
There it is. Somebody clip this moment. 44 minutes, 20 seconds in there. Dak, if Dak doesn't outproduce Keenan Allen, Bobbywow will drink a beer from the turd hat.
I'm into it.
Moral of the story is you got to play him on FanDuel.
You got to play him. So I mean, you're putting in Dak. You want Pollard. I do want Eckler. He's very expensive. $8,250. Okay. This is where. So when you're building a lineup, you get to this point where you need to take a risk, and this is the risk spot because I can't put Ferguson in here, and then it'll be 8K left. So I've got to go like one of these guys. It's the Parham. It's the Everett. All right, let's see what happens when I put in Everett. Right, Everett gets you up to a kicker.
Yep, you can get Brandon Aubrey. That's a good lineup.
Let me just see if there's another way to build this. Pollard, Dak, Herbert. I skipped Eckler and Keenan Allen in this one.
Oof.
I mean, you got to choose, and I would say that Herbert. I like Eckler. Do we like Eckler more than Herbert in this format? Who would you prefer? Just straight up, who would you prefer, Eckler or Herbert?
Eckler's such a beneficiary of that full point PPR, so I think I'm going Herbert as well. But it's real close.
It's Herbert too.
Really? Okay. So I mean, at this level, you can get Ferguson and the kicker in there, and this looks pretty fire.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's a great.
I think that's a good lineup.
Pass catcher.
Yeah, I don't think that's a winning lineup, right? Like I don't think that gets there.
No,
I think it gets in the
nuts. Yeah, I don't think this wins the nuts. So to be clear, the lineup that's going to take down a tournament is going to have more often than not one of these type of guys in it. It's Everett or Parham or whoever catches the touchdown out of this group. I don't know how to predict that, but I'm trying to put together sort of like a high floor, and I'm just call it whatever you want. I'm trying to find a high floor lineup that could finish high in a small contest that has like 150 people in it. That's more when I put a lineup together. That's like one of or in 50 person contest or a 30 person contest. That's something against your buddies, right? Like something like this. It's unique. I don't think this will be replicated very frequently.
No, I like that lineup a lot.
I think people would generally try to force Eckler into a lineup, so I'm going to put that in for my test lineup here in this particular contest as well. So. All right. I think that's going to do it, guys. Hit that like button. I'm going to look into why there was an ad in the middle for some of you guys. That's fucking weird. Normally, I don't think that happens during live streams, although you might get them after. But I also recommend having an ad blocker on your browser, even though that will fuck up your DraftKings. I never see an ad on YouTube ever. I literally never see an ad. I'm always surprised that anybody sees them. Don't you have an ad blocker on your browser?
We should get an ad blocker to sponsor this.
Yeah. Ooh, we're sponsored by Ultimate Ad Blocker. Yeah. But no one would see the sponsorship. No one would see it because they have an ad blocker. So remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Guys, keep in mind this right here. This is very important. We're coming back all week we got DraftKings and FanDuel first looks coming up tomorrow. We've got the game plan with John Sensational Alessia, betting and DFS, top player in the world. We've got Everybody Loves It, the Burns Millie Maker Show. We got the Tournament Tactics crew coming in every single week. Showdown Breakdown on Thursday. We're going non-stop here on the YouTube channel for DFS Army. Not to mention NBA around the corner. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You got to hit the notification. For you guys who are DFS Army subscribers, you know what's up. We are launching. We did a test run on some updates to the Domination Station Optimizer. We're going live with those as soon as tomorrow. They are game changers. I promise you, we're putting every other optimizer in the industry to shame. I already tested out. Do you guys see the results? Did a run with our standard rules. Wait, let me put it on screen. I did a run. We just tested it. We just checked it out. Hey, we just launched this thing, and I know this is going to seem like, I know this is going to seem kind of, and it is. It doesn't mean all that much. It's just a one slate sample size, but we ran the optimizer using just the new functionality, the if-then functionality, the increase, basically the new stacking approach that allows the lineups to be much, much more realistic to what the games might play out. Call it my version of a sim, but better, right? And simpler. And the top run, and it's the same exact settings, but we just turned on that function. And the top run was with the if then statements on, and the bottom run was it off. Did it win? Did a blind run win the mini max the first time we tried it? No.
Nope.
But that was just a blind run with no adjustments, just to compare and contrast the two systems. And so I think we are onto something good here. That will be live as soon as tomorrow
this week.
And I'm going to be back testing it as well. So I just want to figure out some of the best features for it. Good luck tonight, everybody. Let's crush another showdown. Let's see those DFS Army avatars on your accounts. Let us know when you win. We will send you swag. We'll give you a free month of DFS Army if you're not subscribed. That's the big one. Get a DFS Army avatar on your account. Just Google it. If you don't have one, just Google DFS Army. The images pop up. Grab the avatar, whichever one you want, your favorite team. And if you when you take down a tournament, let us know. Send us that screenshot. Hit us up on Twitter, wherever you are. We're going to hook you up with a free month of DFS Army. And if you're subscribed to DFS Army, we're going to set you up with some DFS Army swag and a spot on the wall of champions. You want to be on the wall of champions. You know what's at the top of the wall of champions? Bobbywow still on the top of it. What? So embarrassing. He's so humble. He's so humble. Look at that. $1 million. $1 million win.
I just realized we had double drinks this week. Yeah, Blue Moons for the Players Club, and then we got drinks and turd hats probably on Wednesday for the pod. So you definitely want to be around this week.
Well, I don't. You think you're going to be drinking a turd beer?
I broke out in a cold sweat like a minute after I said that. So I don't know.
Is it okay
I'm going to be annoyed.
That hat will not hold a beer at all. You're going to have to figure out a different way to do this.
We'll find a way.
That hat is very much. That's just going to go right through. So good luck. Good luck, everybody. We will see you on top of